let's practice listening to native level content. Usually in these podcasts, I adjust my speaking style because I am teaching. But for this episode, I'm going to tell you about my week and some of my upcoming plans, and I'm going to say it the way I normally would. So we can think of this episode like a voice note I'm sending one of my friends. Think of this like a phone call. Before we start, if you're new here, hello, I'm Jean. I've been teaching English since 2019, and you're listening to English Extras, the podcast designed to help make English make more sense. If you want to read along with this episode, which I recommend, or get definitions and example sentences of the vocabulary in this episode, you can download the transcript completely for free. Now let's rock and roll. Apologies in advance if you hear any background noise because my window is open and they're doing construction next door. There's also a wind chime somewhere and the birds are very active because it is springtime. So if you hear what sounds like chimes or a drill, that's where that's coming from. So what have I been doing this past week? Well, it feels like quite a bit, actually. Probably the biggest things have been work related. So I applied to a new job. I'm trying to change my work situation a little bit because doing content, I love making content. I love teaching and I've been doing it for a long time, but it just does not pay the bills, you know? And a lot of that comes from the fact that I have massive student loans, meaning like student loan debt, right? Like American universities are horrendously expensive, criminally expensive. And so I am still paying back a lot of my undergraduate degree and also my master's degree. And it is so expensive every single month, having to pay hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to the government to repay my student loans. So the money that I make from teaching, from content, is not enough to actually live. It's just enough to pay my student loans and my health insurance and not much else. So I'm actually applying for new jobs. And I will very likely be moving my content and my teaching to more of like a side hustle, more of like a side gig. So that I'm still teaching, I'm still going to make content, but maybe not as much. And it'll just be on the side. That's the goal anyway. But, you know, other work-related things. This past week, I worked on creating the 30-day plan for one of my English Accelerator clients. That was a lot of fun, actually. That was very interesting because it's like a puzzle. If you don't know what the English Accelerator is, the English Accelerator is a service that I provide. It's currently waitlisted only because I only take 4 clients at a time. But the English Accelerator is a service that I provide that is designed for intermediate learners who are completely lost. They have no idea what they need to be focusing on to improve. They're frustrated. They want to make really quick, targeted improvement. And the service that I provide provides the awareness of the mistakes that you're making, the patterns of mistakes that you're making, and how to fix them. So part of that is a 30-day plan. And so this past week, I created the 30-day plan for one of my clients, one of my English Accelerator clients. I also met with one of my other English Accelerator clients. I did that on Saturday. And that was really fun. I love meeting the people that I'm working with. She was a very, very lovely lady from Hong Kong. And if she's listening to this, hello, it was so nice to meet you. And so one of my upcoming plans for this week actually is to work on her 30-day plan That's one of my goals for this week. So let's see. Worked on the English Accelerator. I applied for other jobs. Outside of that, I've been really focusing on managing my stress. So some of the things that I've been doing this past week is I've been picking up some new hobbies and also rediscovering old ones. So for example, a new hobby is coloring on my iPad. I have one of those Apple pencil things, and I found this app that's just like a bunch of coloring pages. And I've started like coloring a little bit just in the evenings or right before I go to bed as a way to just kind of relax and de-stress. But I've also gotten back into some of my old hobbies, like learning Spanish. I really want to start learning Spanish again. I want to start prioritizing language learning again. And so I've been doing that. I've got an app where I do some reading. I also have a shortcut set up on my phone. Oh my God, that is so cool. I wish I discovered this sooner. So I have an iPhone, and one of the things that I discovered is that you have the ability to set up shortcuts. And one of the shortcuts that I set up was when my alarm goes off. Usually I hit the snooze button a few times. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, sometimes I hit the snooze button a lot. I'm not going to lie. But when I actually turn off my morning alarm, this shortcut automatically triggers a podcast. It automatically starts playing a podcast. And the podcast I chose is Dreaming Spanish, which I love Dreaming Spanish. Dreaming Spanish is a channel on YouTube. It's a website. It's a platform. They are phenomenal. They are amazing. Love their stuff so much. It's all comprehensible input. And so I follow their podcast, and I have the shortcut set up to automatically play after my alarm goes off. So my alarm goes off, I turn it off, and then this podcast starts playing. So while I'm kind of like heaving myself out of bed and getting, up and making my bed and getting dressed and things like that, I'm actually listening to a Spanish podcast. So I love that. Another hobby that I've picked up again in this past week is playing computer games. I don't really play a lot of computer games. I like to play computer games, but I don't have a lot of them. So I got a new one. One of my friends, he's also a student of mine, very, very, very kindly paid for the game for me. And it's called Tiny Bookshop. It is so cute. It is exactly the perfect game for me. I love it so much. That's something that I've been doing in the evenings to kind of unwind and just relax. And it's almost like a puzzle, but with books. It's great. I love it. I've also, this past week, I've been going on a lot of walks because the weather has been pretty nice. It was rainy, actually, for several days last week. It was rainy, but some days were really, really warm and sunny. For example, like last Thursday or something, or Thursday or Friday, it was 25 degrees Celsius, which is crazy. That's like summer, actually, but it was just one day. But today it's lovely. So one of my plans for today is actually to go on another walk. Every day that it's not rainy, I go on a walk with my dog. And so definitely going to do that today because it is a beautiful day today. Clear blue sky, not a cloud anywhere. And it's like, I don't know, it's like 15 degrees right now, Celsius, something like that. So gorgeous day. I'm going to listen to an audiobook and take my dog for a walk later. So speaking of books, I also bought a new book. One of my friends published a new book last week, and I went to the bookstore and got that. That's something that I plan to do this week, is start reading that. I'm very excited. Let's see, what else? I have been re-watching a lot of one of my favorite TV shows called The West Wing. It's on Netflix. And like I said, it's one of my favorite TV shows. I love it. And I've been rewatching a lot of that. And, I'll turn that on and then do some coloring. And that's kind of like how I wind down in the evenings lately. let's see, on Saturday, I had lunch with one of my best friends. That was a lot of fun. She brought her son, and we went to a restaurant where they have a, what is it called? Oh my gosh. At this restaurant, it's a fast food restaurant, but you can go inside, you can eat, and they have a play area for kids. So we went there, and because her son is 4 years old. So we went there, she and I were eating, and then, her son went and played in the play area, and that was so much fun. It was so, so good to hang out with her and talk with her. I don't get to see her very often, so it was very, very nice to catch up with her. Probably the only other thing that I've really been doing is I groomed my dog. I groomed Pip. I brushed him a lot. He is so fluffy. He doesn't really look very fluffy. Well, maybe he does look a little fluffy, actually. I guess he does look a little fluffy. He has a lot of fur, but he doesn't have a double coat. He just has a single coat, not a double, but oh my God, there's so much fur. And so I brushed him, brushed him. And I also trimmed his paws and his nails and I trimmed the fur around his ears and just did a full, nose to tail grooming session with him. And honestly, the amount of fur that came from that grooming could have made a whole other dog. So much fur came off of him. It was ridiculous. And so that's an overview of my previous week. Now this week I'm going to be working on, like I said before, I'm going to be working on the 30-day plan for one of my English Accelerator clients. And that's going to be interesting because it's a slightly different challenge from my previous client. So I'm really excited to figure out how that's going to work, what that's going to look like. Then let's see, I need to go to the store, get a few things from the store. I need to do my laundry. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be applying for more jobs. That's probably the most important thing, is I need to start applying to more jobs. I am going to be making some more content, of course. I've got a new look to the short form content that I make, my Notes from Class series. It's got a new look that should be available now on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm going to be making some more of those. I'm also going to start reading the new book that I got. I'm really excited about that. I've got a whole stack of books, actually. How many books do I have that I'm currently reading? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have a whole stack of books. 10 books that I'm currently reading. Actually, that's not all of them. 11. 11 books. And I'm also going to be video chatting with some of my friends later this week. One of my friends who lives here in town, but also one of my friends who lives in the Netherlands. I'm going to be talking to her probably tomorrow or sometime this week. And that's really lovely. Love that for me. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go take my dog on a walk. So I have to take advantage of this lovely, lovely weather. It's not going to stay this mild for very long. Probably in the next few weeks, it's going to start getting hotter where it's not going to be so comfortable taking my dog for a walk. So I want to take advantage of this while we have it. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to put in an audiobook, listen to that, and take my dog for a walk. So I hope you've enjoyed this natural English version of English Extras. If this type of content is something that you like, please let me know. Either leave a comment or send me an email or send a carrier pigeon. But just let me know if this is something that you enjoyed. If it was helpful to you, please consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, please consider sharing this with a friend or sharing it to your social media, telling people about it. That is one of the best ways to support me, is sending it to other people. So thank you so much for listening. Until next time, my friends. Bye.